This is the first appearance of a Brussels artist initiative, Etablissement to be present on an art fair. We were invited here to come to a presence which we didn't know immediately how to answer, in the sense that we are a non-profit artist initiative. And so we were a bit puzzled, but also intrigued how we could answer this. And we didn't start to answer with content, that means with objects to show, but more with, as I've been told by you, as a scenography. How can you feel at home in a fair where there are so many open booths? And okay, Etablissement is an artist initiative, so we talk and discuss in group or individually. And someone of the group came up with the idea to close the booth and give it a proper door. Real oak in Belgium or in Europe means something. An old door that we basically received from an artist friend who left the city like more than half a year ago. And the idea also to close the normally completely open stand and have a possibility of intimacy for whatever reason we would be inside. This door we can only close from the inside, and we don't know who could ring the bell. There's a bell also for if the case is on, the door is closed. At the outside, we can't close it or open it when it's locked from the inside. So if someone, normally, often I leave it open like this, just a bit, so people could be maybe intrigued or not. And the situation is, if someone rings the bell and I've closed the door, I don't know whom I'm refusing, and the other person outside doesn't know who is refusing access or not opening the door to this guest or possible guest. So the idea was to have some kind of intimacy and let's call it a wine queue. So this door we received from an artist who moved away from Brussels, and so I asked him, or we asked him permission whether we were allowed to use this in an artistic situation. And he did so, and some days later he asked, what will be inside the booth? And we said, well, we don't know it yet, like a month ago. And then some days later he came up and said, okay, I can provide you with paintings, which we were very thankful for. Basically the same artist as in our gallery has an exhibition, and we wanted to extend it and to keep this exhibition open until the art fair would finish. So we have a complementary space here in an art fair where we have so many stands, but with almost only work by this artist from Oslo, Steiner H.K. Christensen. And then the real show, why he was invited in Brussels to come, is in Etablissement office. This series of 10 paintings is basically a repetition of a motif that he developed, and that he, well, repeats it, the possibility to rework it like a painting. When you make a landscape, you can do another landscape, and basically it's two birds with faces, a bit difficult to see on this small painting, with faces of men who are weeping over the landscape and flying through the landscape and carrying two other phases. It sounds a bit horrible and sad, but yes, it is. There are images of despair, but try to keep emotions and thoughts flying over the world, and how this can be painted. You can alternate it. And that's one of his driving principles in his work. Another remainder we have in this booth, because we have also once a day some artist who passes by or was invited, several artists who were invited to have small tryouts. Another remainder of such a visit was, or is, this carpet from Iran, bought in a flea market with a lion on it, and Flemish text, 19th century literature for putting a basis under the Belgian nation building. So a writer who was ordered by the king, Leopold II, to write a history that could form the nation and give some spirit to it. Belgium was basically a very young nation and needed some motivations and myths. And so they got one, which was based on a history of the 14th century, of Flanders, at that time called Flanders, this region, who would fight the French. Basically, we were in Belgium, of course, and we are still in Belgium. Basically, this little text, commissioned by the king, became in the 20th century a motive and one of the motivation and basements for Flemish nationalism, which is very strange, which is a bit anti-Belgian. Significance, it got another interpretation, never meant to be put in it. Luckily we have a beautiful Afghan rug. Iranian rug, sorry, Persian rug.